Hi, I told you guys I was going to look up the moonflower and why it was rolling around in my head. There's a lot of things I hear in my dreams, and there's a lot of things that I get and from spirit, and I say them. It's my higher self picking up on something. I notice something, I pick up on it, and then I don't know until later why. It's messages that spirit's bringing me. And what I was saying was the hummingbird, which represents me. I'm drawn to the flowers. Right, I like the flowers, and and what I was saying, I was watching the sparrows, and I always talk about my businessman. He looks like a little businessman, right? He is the sparrow that reminds you of your self-worth, and it reminds you that you're going to be victorious. But the hummingbirds come to the flowers of this cactus, but the sparrow comes, and I said, it's interesting. He seems to pick up the seeds. He wants the seeds of something. So many things come together. It's amazing how spirit pulls it all together. Many songs started to play, and all the dreams started coming together. Now, the song that was playing when I came inside after looking at the moonflower, and I was telling you that the moonflower lives in the same pot as Mr. Rosewood. The rosewood gets mold on it. The rose needs to come out into the sun so that there's not, so they can dry out. Mold comes from too much emotion. There's so many different ways that this is going to apply. And then I'm looking at this moonflower, and I'm saying, how is it that something that's so stinky, a plant that stinks so much, has such a beautiful flower that has a beautiful scent? Isn't that weird that at one moment it smells beautiful at night, only at night. It doesn't smell good during the day. The plant, there is no flower during the day, and it doesn't smell good. The plant smells actually really stinky. And you think about stinkweed, and you think about weed. So there's marijuana, right? Marijuana, pot. But that's not all. Then I come in, and the song that's playing is, I never thought I'd let a rumor ruin my moonlight. And I thought, so your moonlight, it's when you dream. It's when you pay attention to your dreams. I had a dream, and then it goes on. Somebody told me that you had a girlfriend that looked like a boyfriend. You had a boyfriend that looked like a girlfriend. Never thought I'd let a rumor ruin my moonlight. And then it went back to another dream where I was shown where somebody said, it was somebody's bachelor party. And I was there, so it's somebody I'm connected to, said to someone, do you think you can handle this trick? And the person said, I think so. And so they called it in. So the song, wait till you're announced. We've not yet used all of our graces, which is spirit speaking, right? We've got something up our sleeve. Call all the ladies in. And it says the dogs will stay in chains. The dogs are the competition. You know, everyone's competing for love they won't receive. Okay? So these dogs are going to stay in chains. So call all the ladies in. The jewels on their necks, and then, and in between their teeth. Jewels on their necks and between their teeth. I don't even want to go there sexually, but you can if you want. Now call all the boys in. Their skin in craters like the moon. And I'm thinking, the moon. And then it says, dance around, and then the moon who dances like our brother. Our brother. I loved him like a brother, and he dances through the room, dances through the lies we tell, dances, big eyes, right? And then it says the comatose don't dance and tell. So it's like we're going to take it to the grave, dancing, having sex, right? What I watched was, and it's funny because the first time I was shown this dream, I saw it in a different way. I saw somebody on a skateboard. And when you look up skateboard, it's skating through life. You know, it's taking the easy way. It's easy, relaxed. You think about a surfer, you know, that they're into skateboarding, skateboarders. It's that lifestyle, easygoing. I'm just skating. I'm not, skating is also a drug term, which I didn't know anything about this until I started looking it all up, sadly, because I have to, because Spirit keeps bringing me these messages. So these messages are going out for a lot of people. So do you think you can do this trick? And the first time I saw this guy skating on a skateboard, and he goes, I think so. So he goes to skate, and he goes to skate up this wall, and he gets halfway up the wall, and then he lands on his back. Doesn't make it, and it hurts him, and it knocks the wind out of him, and he's just like, oh my God. But he's embarrassed because all of his brothers and his brother's friends were there. Funny, I said all of his brothers. So he gets embarrassed, you know, but he doesn't want anyone to know that he's been hurt, so he takes off. He walks away. Never thought I'd let a rumor ruin my moonlight, right? someone told me you had a boyfriend that looked like a girlfriend. Well, what I watched that was the first dream. I've seen this dream many, many times from many different perspectives. And I was there all the time. And so this is when we get information from spirit, and we can't prove it, but I know it. How do I know this information if I wasn't energetically there? Okay? So no, I'm not impressed that you allowed that you were gonna be with a hooker. No, that's not cool. You know, I don't care. That's the one thing I don't like about bachelor parties. Why is it that right before you get married, it seems to be important that you go out and fuck everybody? You know, you call in the hookers. I don't get that. Why get married? If you can't be loyal and honorable, don't come near me. That's a fact. So they call in the hookers, right? You think you can do this trick? I think so. So then the hooker comes, lays on top of this person, because I felt it, and fumbling in the curtains, which is skirt, and all of a sudden realizing that this is not a female. This is a boy. This is a transgender teen. The flower comes out at night. The hookers come out at night. The prostitutes come out at night. That's one thing. That's just one of all of this. So then I kept looking up. I kept continuing to look up the moonflower. And I told you about how the little businessman, the hummingbird, which is me, wants the flower. And then you think about that too. The hummingbird, oh God, you guys, hummingbird wants the flower. The flower is a woman's vagina. But the sparrow wants these little nuts, wants the guy, right? The businessman, he wants the male. And so he realizes, oh my God, that this is a man. I'm not doing this. Or this is a boy. I'm not doing this. And so the person that is in the room says, well, if my brother can't get the job done, I can. I will. And he is with this person. I watched as somebody wrote down their name, where you're going to have to sign for this one, right? I guess you're going to check out the hooker. If you go to a whorehouse, you're going to check her out. You're running a house of ill repute. And the person goes and writes down their name, but they don't write down the name of the person who they're saying they are. They write down this name, and I'm going, wait a minute, that's not you. That's your brother. And now I'm talking your physical brother. You wrote down your brother's name, and it was you. I watched you. Now, I also, as I went and I threw up outside, okay? So we constantly keep getting this thing about heroin, you know, you throw up. That's what you're doing. So I'm looking at the spiritual uses. So it doesn't have to be, like, remember I said, people are doing something. They're ingesting something in their body, and they're thinking that they're enlightening themselves. They think that they're opening their mind, but it's poisoning you. This flower, the moonflower, is a poison. It's a poisonous flower. It's called gypsum weed. It's called devil's weed. And the Cherokee, the Navajo, they use this in a sacred ceremony. And what they do is they take the black seeds. Now, my little businessman, that's what he was interested in, was the black seeds. So I'm giving you all of these because I know that there's several people that have been, it's funny how Spirit gets all of these messages that can be applied in many different ways, but there's many different people that I'm dealing with that are doing the different things on different levels. There are people that are doing the homosexual thing. There are people that are doing this spiritual, like opening your mind and doing a ceremony, but it all kind of comes together. So the one is, can you do this trick? I think so. Can't do the trick. This trick's a guy. I'm not doing this. I back away. You do it. But what they did was they blamed you. They signed you. They said to everyone that you were the one who did it, not them, because they weren't able to come out and embrace their homosexuality. They didn't want anyone to know. And I literally saw somebody say, it wasn't okay what you did to me. And a woman came forward and said, well, he had a family to support. And I don't care. You named me for something that you did. I'm not a homosexual. You did this. However, there's another message. Somebody said that you had a boyfriend that looked like a girlfriend. I watched somebody take an email that was written and rewrote the email and told somebody, and I heard somebody say, stay away from her. You only heard her besides she's in love with, and named another person. Somebody said you had a boyfriend and the guy had long hair. That's covered too. Now, if you look at the spiritual uses, they take this, the seeds from this, from the pod. Here's the pod right here, the datura seed pod opening up, right? And you ingest the black seeds. And what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to enlighten you. It's supposed to bring upon visions. It's very, very toxic. It's supposed to open your mind to be more receptive to creative thinking and imaginative thinking. Now, because the natives use this, they do this in India as well. Shiva is supposed to have liked this. So spiritual uses, yes, they think that this is what they're doing. That's why I say I won't do this. I won't do this. I won't use any of these things to open my mind. My mind's open up enough. And if you have to use a drug to open your mind, you're not contacting spirit. What you're doing is you're working with devil energy. That's why they call it the devil's weed, gypsum. And you think about nothing, what else is called gypsum, right? So when they take this, sometimes they'll smoke it. And when they smoke it, it literally renders you useless. You lose your mind. Remember, I got in my dream. He's batshit crazy, right? This is what's going on. So now listen to this when we go back to the homosexual thing. The datura is a foul-smelling, erect, freely branching herb. The root is long, stout, erect. So this is the sexual part, right? Foul-smelling. But with the erect flower at night smells very, very sweet. And it flowers through the summer. It does. It's amazing how good it smells. The flower is beautiful. The pleasant fragrance. And what's interesting is the moths come to it, not the butterflies. The moths come to it. And I think about, I fell in love with a woman with another man's name. Like a moth to the flame, I fell in love with a woman with another man's name. So somebody's cheated. This is somebody else's. I'm named for someone else. I fell in love with her. The moth. So this is somebody who's crossing over. This is somebody who, why Spirit says, wait till we're announced. Dance around the lies we tell. I'll take it to the grave, right? Even the comatose, we won't tell. First of all, I'm not going to say what happened because how could I explain that? I was with a hooker. I didn't do it, but I was going to do it. I was there, and it ended up being a guy. It's humiliating, and yet it went around that I was the one that was with this person. So first of all, I can't tell you about it because I did this, but it wasn't what it seemed. It ended up being worse. And then on top of that, you are now smoking this, which is creating this hallucinogen that is so gnarly, and the toxicity, if you overdose on it, and which many do, you end up in the hospital because you're smoking this to get basically it's a high that you're trying to get. So here you've got the kids on the Indian reservation, right? They grow up, they know, the ancestors and the shaman and medicine people, this is what they use to get to connect with spirit, and they're thinking, hey, let's just get high on it, right? So they're abusing it, and they end up in the hospital because they do it because it's like LSD. It's psychiatric is what it is. You end up in the hospital with this. Smoked in a cigarette or smoked in a pipe. You can also do it where you boil it in water. Remember I said I saw them boiling this. I had these leaves in a pot and they had water they were putting into it. And it's a daily practice. And this is the Ayurvedic, right? So some people take this as a form of anesthetic. They take this as a form, basically it makes you unconscious, it knocks you out. So there's all kinds of different ways. Now you may be thinking, okay, I'm gonna do this. This is not anything to fuck with, but there could be somebody that's trying to figure out different ways of healing, natural healing, right? And yet it creates this, it's basically called the zombie cucumber, right? So it's dangerous. And I watched somebody come forward, and they came to this place of business, and they had a book. They were scientists, and they were going in. Remember, it's time to go to the rainforest, time to go on safari. Mushrooms. All of this can be used for healing, but all of it also can be used as a drug. And maybe you were trying to do something in a spiritual way, or maybe you were trying to do something in a form of healing, but you overdose, and it makes you very, very sick. So there's all these different things. Be very, very careful what you do. You are not a scientist. Be very, very careful what somebody hands off to you. Remember I told you somebody's giving you something that's laced? It could be laced with this. It could be laced, as I said, with heroin. Somebody was taking something laced. I preferred not to in my dream. The person preferred not to. But it made them sick because they were ingesting it. There's so many things that you can be ingesting that make you sick. I remember saying, I have to be careful about this plant. It will grow well in the shade, but this other plant that's in the same pot needs the sun. So one is going to grow to its potential, but the other one won't. So you either leave them in the same pot, and one doesn't grow to its full potential, or you separate them, right? Well, same thing with the moonflower and with the rosewood. Mr. Rosewood, he needs to go into a different area than that moonflower. They're not the same. One of these things is not like the other. The pothos, it grows, and you think about the Greek god, and I'm thinking about the orgies. Pothos was one of the four musketeers. So there's four people, one of the four musketeers. One of these is not like the others, right? Three of them are gay. Remember the three that we had to separate from? Pothos. Pothos does, will grow well in that area. But the other one, tiger lily, the lily needs the sun. The cat, if the cat ingested that tiger lily, it was poisonous. Do you understand? There's so many different messages, and they all flow together. So I'm going to put this message out, and I will allow you to figure out how to discern what your message is, because I know that there are so many messages coming from this. Such enlightenment. But first of all, before I do go, don't listen to rumors. Don't listen to gossip. And if you do need to tell somebody, tell them the God's honest truth. You have a better chance of being understood if you speak your truth. And recognize that the truth always comes out. You're never going to hide the truth. It always comes to the surface. Spirit will always make certain that the truth comes out. All right? So I'm going to put this up. Have a great day.